Hello everyone, this is Matthew Martin. Have you ever felt weak and that you don't have a lot of ability and that other people have way more ability than you do? Well, there is hope for you. I'm going to tell you something that's really going to help you. I want to read you a scripture that's really going to encourage you. It's 1 Corinthians 1:26 and on. It says, "Brothers and sisters, think of what you were when you were called. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many of you were influential. Not many of you of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of the world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him." Did you hear that scripture, guys? This should super encourage you, because if you're a foolish thing, God will use you to shame the wise. If you're a weak thing, God will use you to shame the strong. If you're a lowly thing, a despised thing, a thing that is not, God will use you to nullify the things that are. So don't worry about your weakness. God is going to make that weakness shame the strong. It's so comforting to know that He doesn't call people to have it all together. I don't know if you guys knew this, but when I was in school, I had a reading disability. I really struggled to read and I couldn't read out loud. And one time I was in a grade 2 and 3 class. I was volunteering for my Bible school. I was about 25 years old. And I was helping out in the grade 2 and 3 class. And I was reading, I had to read a piece of text and I read it. And the kids were like, "Oh, what were you saying?" There was no flow to what I was saying because I was struggling to read so much. And a grade 2, he took it and he read it perfectly. And the kids were like, "Oh, that's what he was trying to say." And another time I was in a ministry in London and the ministers called me and they said, "Matt, we can't show up today. You're going to have to preach today." And it was my first time preaching. And so I jotted down some notes and I had to read a large portion of text. And you got to remember, I can't read out loud. Like I really struggled, right? So I got up there and I preached and the Lord healed me. I started reading like a pro. So I just want to encourage you that if you don't have a lot of ability, don't worry, because God can heal you. There's also another time that the Lord healed me. My thought process were pretty slow, and a lady, she got a word from the Lord. She didn't know what was going on. She prayed for my brain, and since then I've been able to think faster and clearer. So you don't have to worry if you're a weak thing, if you're a thing that is not, a foolish thing, a lowly thing. God can provide the ability. He can heal you. And the same thing happened with many ministers. I know my pastor, Pastor Dale, he used to tell a story about this guy that was in his Bible college and he had a huge stutter, and he was in Bible college and he said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," and he would just go on for like a minute and he would say, "One day I'm going to preach the gospel." And they were like, "Oh man, what's up with this guy?" But when that guy graduated, at his first time preaching, he went up to preach, and all of a sudden when he went to go preach, he was instantly healed. So I just want to encourage you, that happened to that man. It happened to Benny Hinn. It happened to me. Benny Hinn had a stutter. He was healed. And I've heard other ministers say things like that too, that the Lord just healed them and provided the ability. So I want to encourage you, if you feel weak and lowly, God can provide the ability. In the scripture we read in this video, it said, God chose the foolish things to shame the wise. God chose them. So if they were weak, if they were foolish and they didn't have ability and God chose them, then God gave them ability. So that should encourage you. If you're a weak thing, if you're a lowly thing, if you don't have ability, if you're a thing that is not a foolish thing, don't worry, because God supplies the ability, guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this message. I pray that you are blessed, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.